enforcers of law who are tasked with maintaining public order, protecting individuals and property, and preventing and investigating crimes. That is what being a police officer means, or at least that's what they are trying to do. Instances have aroused where police officers have misused their authority, employed excessive force, and violated people's rights, particularly those from marginalized communities, leading to distrust and fear of law enforcement. Are they subjected to such power? What are the legal repercussions for them, however? And most of all, would they be treated differently when compared to the masses? Join us as we take a closer look at two of the most uncanny cases that could make question the judicial system as a whole. Our first case kicks off with the case of Harold Hill, which is just a perfect example of how our justice system can go wrong. This case definitely checks all the boxes, including a horrific rape and murder, as well as a mishandled conviction, you name it. So then what went about? Let's start with the so-called beacons of justice, Kenneth Bordeaux and John Halloran, the detectives who were assigned to the case and the beacons of law. They were the ones who managed to extract a confession from Peter Williams, who was later discovered to have been in custody when the crime was committed. How did they even produce a fabricated confession from someone who wasn't even present? Hill claims he was physically and mentally tortured until he confessed to crimes he didn't commit. Is this the kind of conduct we anticipate from our law enforcement personnel? The trial itself was held when Hill was 31 years old, despite the fact that he was only 16 at the time of the crime and was therefore tried as an adult. At this point, it's just not fair, and it's incomprehensible what Hill is going through. Given that neither of the defendants had a criminal history prior to the incident, this is an intriguing move by the prosecution. Hill and Young were given a life without parole sentence after the jury found them guilty of the murder. However, 13 long years later, DNA tests showed that neither of the defendants' cellular components found under Kathy Morgan's fingernails, nor the hair found at the crime scene matched either of them. Imagine the sheer suffering Hill endured for something he didn't do. It continues to amaze me how Hill managed to hang on to his life. The prosecutors disputed the findings despite this evidence, claiming that the hairs had nothing to do with the crime and that the cellular material might have come from sweat or drool that the recovery teams had left behind. Even in the face of such overwhelming evidence, it's shocking that the prosecutors were so resistant. Young was killed in a hit-and-run incident shortly after Harold and Young were finally let out of jail. This almost leads us to believe that this is almost a plot to clip both of them. Hill, on the other hand, accused the city of Chicago, the police, and the two detectives involved in the case of coercing a confession and violating his civil rights in a complaint he filed against them. The case was resolved for $1.25 million, of which Hill received $500,000 and the remainder was paid to the lawyers. It's surprising that the detectives were only asked to make a pitiful $7,500 payment for their roles in this whole fiasco. You think that's all? Wait until you hear this. It should be noted that Hill is currently serving a 27-year sentence after being found guilty once more of an unrelated charge of armed robbery. In spite of this, it is obvious that Harold Hill was let down by the legal system in the past. This case emphasizes the need for justice system reform to prevent erroneous convictions and make sure that those who abuse their power are held accountable. Starting with the investigation and continuing through the trial and conviction, the Harold Hill case is a tragedy of errors. Hill was wrongfully detained for 13 years, and because the system made him a criminal, he was never given the opportunity to adapt to life outside of prison. He was completely screwed over by the system, and the police only received $7,500 each. When police officers commit acts like the ones they did, they should be imprisoned for a minimum of the same amount of time as the victims they imprison. Up next, we have an oddball in the form of Sergeant Mario Cardona versus Daniel Garza. After being thrown and pinned to the ground, Daniel Garza was rendered helpless. Officer Mario Cardona, a longtime friend of Garza's, was on the verge of breaking his wrist. Confronting a criminal and keeping him confined is one thing, but putting a civilian without a reason is shocking. Garza recalled, I was trying to be a man and trying to hold in the pain, but man, that wrist lock hurts. He's just bending it and bending it. But why did Cardona go so far as to nearly break his wrist? His actions were apparently driven by rage toward Garza, whom he accuses of attempting to kidnap his stepdaughter. But are cops subjected to such an authority in the first place? It appears that the two men had a long history together because Garza had once dated Naomi Villanueva, the stepdaughter of Cardona. Villanueva left her parents' home to live with a friend because the relationship had reached its breaking point. However, Villanueva was allegedly taken from her friend's home in May 2015 by Garza without her consent and brought to her parents' residence in Whittier, where Cardona lived across the street. Garza was performing pilates in his garden when Cardona saw him and told him to go to the street. Cardona started his assault as soon as Garza sat down. Garza claimed that he was not the aggressor, and a neighbor who saw the incident attested to Garza's innocence. As soon as they arrived on the scene, the sheriff's deputies saw redness on Garza's face, bruises and abrasions on his knees, and redness on his wrist. After Garza complained about Cardona, the city of Los Angeles, Chief Beck, and Cardona were named as defendants in a federal lawsuit. Garza claimed that he had been the victim of a false arrest, an arbitrary search and seizure, overuse of force, an assault and battery, negligence, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The trial also featured a video of the incident captured by one of Garza's neighbors. They had made up a story of what had happened to make him look like a hero, and me look like a criminal, Daniel Garza. The hearing was presided over by U.S. District Judge Stephen V. Wilson, who heard former Deputy City Attorney Michael Amarian speak in defense of the city. Cardona was found to have acted maliciously as an off-duty officer by the jury, and on June 26, 2017, he was ordered to pay Garza $210,000 in damages. In addition, the court added $664,000 in attorney's fees and $26,000 in post-trial costs. The city of L.A. refused to take responsibility for Cardona's actions and even refused to indemnify the officer, forcing him to pay for the charges out of his pocket. Jim DeSimone, Garza's attorney, claims, "This is the problem with the LAPD. This is why people are out on the street." The incident serves as an example of how police can abuse people and get away with it. In this instance, however, Garza was able to confront the authorities who had infringed upon his rights and prevail in his lawsuit against Cardona. It is clear that police officers cannot get away with using excessive force against citizens after the jury found Cardona guilty of malice. It is important to note that this case also emphasizes how crucial it is for citizens to be aware of their rights and to speak out against law enforcement when they believe those rights have been violated. Garza's decision to accuse Cardona of using excessive force and file a complaint against him demonstrates that people can take legal action to stop police brutality. What do you think of these cases? Which do you think is most unfair? Sound off in the comments below and make sure to let us know if we missed out on anything. While you are at it, make sure to hit that subscribe and leave a like to never miss an update from us. Thanks for watching.
What are y'all taking me in for? What did I do?
Operating a vehicle while under the influence of alcohol or drugs or other controlled substances.
No.
A belligerently intoxicated woman is arrested in Ohio after crashing a vehicle while transporting a patient with special needs.
Kelly, I'm gonna have you step out with me, okay? We gotta go. I know. I gotta get you out of here though, okay?
I know you're not gonna do that.
Yeah. Kelly, we're not laying back down.
All this before she blatantly...
Kelly Barton, then 48 years old, was put in a dangerous position by a series of strange happenings. She was on the clock and transporting a patient with special needs when the accident occurred. Kelly slammed into a lamppost while driving. Kelly's untidy and shaky appearance was immediately noticeable to the responding police officers.
I know what this is.
She shredded the back of that. She's
in the back of my car.
Well, she popped both tires, so I'm afraid she hit something in Blue Ash. So,
yep. I guess it's going to be by the roundabout.
That's what I think too. Well, you're saying she came Glendale Milford? Yeah, it'd be up. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's what she told me. The driver is in her car. Okay, so I came to an empty vehicle. All right. the owner of this facility or whatever it is, they transport special needs people.
32, squad dispatch 106.
This driver,
in the road
she
drive
is
for 93-year-old female semi-conscious.
Kelly initially disputed responsibility for the collision, but it was later discovered that alcohol was a contributing factor. She denied that she had ever driven under the influence, despite the fact that she was employed as a caregiver. However, video surveillance from a neighboring gas station positively identified her as the driver. As a result, she was accused of driving under the influence while transporting the sick patient, and she also faced charges of ignoring her duty.
Your driver is someone that stays at a shelter?
Huh?
Your driver is somebody who stays at a shelter?
My coworker. She's a coworker.
Okay.
But I'm the driver. That's my car. She in the back seat.
I'm talking about this one.
This one, yeah, she stays in
She
the
stays
shelter.
in the shelter.
She just got
Okay.
the job. Yeah, she just got
We're trying to
hired.
figure out a way. If we got to get her home, we got to figure out
I'll get her. I'll
a safe
take her.
place to.
Yeah, she's at the shelter. I know her.
So here's the situation. It's a unique one.
Parkway 31, okay.
This
7 north.
car belongs to a special needs driver service. They drive special needs people around to different places. The driver is heavily intoxicated. We're going to go see what she hit in Blue Ash, but the gentleman that was being driven said she hit a pole. The car's on only one wheel. When I got here, the car is turned off, and this driver is sitting in the passenger seat of a coworker's car that came to pick up the special needs person. So, can we even go the OBI route? Nobody saw her driving. Lady picked her up, said my boss told me to come down here, and
Kelly's behavior took a sudden and unwelcome turn as paramedics arrived to examine her. She started making sexual statements about the responding officers that shocked everyone. Multiple tests conducted by the police confirmed that Kelly's blood alcohol content was far higher than the permissible level.
yeah, let's go ahead and just get roll squad. Hey, Kelly,
Yes, sir.
can I have you step out here with me real quick? I'll help you out. I know, here we go. Give me your hand, and I'm gonna help you out.
Trying.
I know you're trying, but I need you to work with me, okay? So this nice lady can give you a ride home, okay? So go ahead and step out for me, all right?
Officers worked for several minutes to convince Barton to step out of the vehicle.
Kelly, I know you're tired. Here, hold my hand. And I'm gonna get you out, okay? So I need you to come out with me, all right? Because we're gonna work together, okay?
Listen to my partner, please.
Yeah, come on, Kelly. Please. I'm gonna get you these shoes, all right?
Kelly, go ahead.
Kelly, knowing that her arrest was likely, persisted in her bold behavior, fighting off the cops as they tried to place her in the police car. At the end of the day, she was arrested for drunk driving. Kelly's arrest antics left a confusing tail in her trail, and if anyone thought she was brazen before, they were shocked by what they saw. Here, 18-year-old Skylar Floss gained notoriety after releasing a video in which she claimed to have fooled a police officer during a DUI stop.
I got out of a DUI and got let off with a warning.
She bragged that she had avoided a DUI charge by using her wit and charm, and that the police officer had even asked her out. A different picture emerged, however, after Deputy Stallman of the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office revealed body cam footage.
I blew a 3.8 and he let me off with a f***ing warning and gave me his number and said we should meet for coffee or lunch. He was hot, so I'm getting lunch with him tomorrow.
Skylar was pulled over by Deputy Stallman for weaving on the road, and Stallman voiced his fear that Skylar might be impaired by alcohol. He asked how she was doing and gave her a card with the department's information on it, rather than his personal number.
I'm in the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. I pulled you over because you're weaving a little bit back there. Where are you coming from?
I was coming from my friend's house. I actually just got dumped.
Okay.
So I was like crying and like I'm really
Okay.
sorry.
Were you on your phone and stuff too?
I was trying to call him to get a hold of him because my heart hurts.
Okay. Well, I'm just concerned that you were weaving because of alcohol, but if you're on your phone, have you been drinking or anything tonight? No? Okay.
Despite her protest, the officer acted professionally by issuing simply a warning for her own protection. Skylar's video not only showed her bragging about taking advantage of the cop's good nature, but also showed her making up a story about how she blew an astounding 3.8 on a breathalyzer, which could have killed her. As a matter of fact, she was never put through any sort of examination. Skylar's irresponsible behavior at a party before the event was revealed by new evidence.
Sounds like you're having a rough night, so I'm not going to add to that by writing you a ticket or anything, okay? So I'm just going to give you a warning. It's not a big deal. I just want to make sure you're okay. You were weaving a little bit, and I just want to make sure you're okay to operate the motor vehicle, and I believe you are. So my information's right here on the front. The reason I stopped you here is on the back. Wherever you're headed, get there safely, and I'm sorry you're having a bad night.
Yeah, I'm just right.
Okay. No, you're fine. Yeah, no, you don't need to apologize. I mean, you were weaving a little bit with no traffic out. I just want to make sure you're okay, that's all.
Skylar eventually confirmed her irresponsible behavior and her fabrication of stories for online attention. Neither she nor Deputy Stallman, who had behaved professionally throughout the incident, faced any legal consequences. The incident acted as a warning against making baseless charges and highlighted the significance of acting responsibly while behind the wheel. Lydia Badillo found herself in a precarious circumstance that differentiated her from the other people. During her effort to sneak 2 undocumented immigrants across the Mexican border, she was caught by Border Patrol agents.
Fine, you're fine. Just come over here to this side. Do you have anything right here?
Oh, no, you want me to open it?
Yeah. And right. Okay.
They're my friends.
Okay, and who are these?
Both of my friends.
Okay.
Carmen y Joana.
Okay. Okay, are these legit? Because they look fake.
I'm guessing, but I met them at Club Fuego.
What?
We're going to Agave. We're going to go have some drinks.
How long have you met this?
Yeah, tengo como 4 or 5 months. We met at Club Fuego.
Oh, okay. All right. Just wait for me right here, okay? You don't have anything?
I'm looking at your Sorry, sir.
What?
I'm looking at your eyes.
Why?
You look pretty handsome.
Oh.
I need to call the cops. Can I just, please, I have an autistic kid in my house.
Okay.
Please.
Let's do it.
Please,
yes.
Please.
Lydia resorted to an ill-conceived approach when her illegal business started to fall apart. She sought to seduce Officer Francis by asking him to wait while she lavished him with praises. This was a mistake on her part. Officer Francis, on the other hand, was not readily persuaded. He began to have doubts about the fake identification cards that Lydia had handed him.
I had 2 investigators today
Okay,
earlier.
okay. Ma'am.
In my car,
Ma'am.
I just want to...
Estos documentos por un montón de tiempo.
Por un año.
Por un año.
Sí.
Ok. Pues son falsos, ok. Y tener documentos en estados de Texas es un delito. Las ID, a esta te sale a un señor, la tuya. A esta no me sale nada. Ok, so estas identificaciones son falsas. Ok.
After conducting further research, he discovered that both of the IDs were forged, exposing Lydia's deceptive plan. The 2 women who were traveling with her were revealed to be undocumented immigrants hailing from El Salvador who were caught up in a murky human trafficking operation. These victims were held captive in debt bondages, where they were compelled to perform forced labor and subjected to sexual exploitation in order to repay their traffickers.
Ahora, yo lo que le quiero dar a entender a ustedes de que... So it's clear what's going on now. Well, we already passed that. You had 2 undocumented people in the vehicle. We're past that.
Y ahora es mi culpa.
Ma'am.
Culpa de eso.
Okay? You're under arrest for human smuggling.
No, sir.
Turn around.
Please.
Turn around. Okay?
Todo por yo manejar.
Turn around. Separate your arms.
Lydia was taken into custody without delay, while the 2 Salvadorian ladies were deported back to their native country, potentially saving them from years of unspeakable torment. The ill-advised attempt that Lydia made to charm her way out of trouble failed tragically, as Officer Francis stayed unwavering in his commitment to The ill-advised attempt that Lydia made to charm her way out of trouble failed tragically, as Officer Francis stayed unwavering in his commitment to enforcing the law and protecting people who are susceptible to being exploited.
Balance?
I do have an autoimmune disease called Behçet syndrome.
Okay.
Yes.
Behçet syndrome?
Behçet syndrome. The last time I was diagnosed, I was about the 3rd person in New Mexico to have it.
Okay.
It's very similar to lupus.
Okay. All right. I'm going to have you try these tests as best you can, and we'll go from there, okay?
Yes, sir.
Do you feel comfortable walking in those shoes?
Yep.
Does your autoimmune disease or whatever it is, does it affect your ability to walk and balance?
At times, I do get lesions inside of my intestines. I did go to the doctor last week for a lesion that I had.
Okay, and did they give you something for it? Do you think it's better? They haven't done anything?
The unexpected meeting between Brooke Teague and a police officer took a fascinating turn that worked out well for her. She was initially stopped because of her irregular driving, which raised concerns about possible intoxication or a need for assistance. When Officer Smith pulled Brooke over, she greeted him cheerfully.
Just your eyes, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Try to hold your head still, please. Keep watching it. I need you to look at it.
1, 2, 3. My balance is Very good. 4, 5, 6, good. 7, 8, 9. Pattern. E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q.
Okay, do you know your numbers?
Yes, sir.
Can you count backwards for me? Start at 47 and end at 32, please.
47 to 32?
Yes.
47, 46, 45, 40.
Okay, just do a 47 and
to
stop me at 46.
The breath test is by willingness.
Okay. Go ahead and turn around for me. I'll read you the implied consent, and you can decide for yourself. You're not going to...
Brooke claimed multiple times that she had only had one beer and that she had just gotten off the phone with her baby's father, Zachary. Brooke had obviously had more than one drink, but her relationship with the police officer only improved as time went on.
Go to your left. You are under arrest for driving under the influence of an intoxicating liquor or drug. The New Mexico Implied Consent Act requires you to submit to a breath test to determine the alcohol content of your blood. After you take our test, you have the right to choose an additional independent test. If you choose to take this additional independent test, you have the right to a reasonable opportunity to arrange for a physician, a licensed nurse or a laboratory technician or technologist who is employed by a hospital or physician of your own choice to perform an additional chemical test. The cost of this additional test will be paid for by the law enforcement agency, the Albuquerque Police Department. Do you agree to take our test? It will be a breath test. Constant breath. Blow constantly, hard and constantly till the machine stops making noise. Go ahead. Blow, 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 blow. Try it again. And the legal limit in the state of New Mexico is 0.08. Your first breath score was a 0.16, and your second was a 0.16. You're over 2 times. You're at 2 times the legal limit. It's a little bit more than one shot. Okay. 0.08 is the 0.08 is the legal limit. You are going to be transported out to MDC where you'll be booked for DWI. You're also going to be booked for failed to maintain a traffic lane, failed to obey a traffic control device, and for not having your proof.
Brooke failed the sobriety test administered by Officer Smith, resulting in her arrest for DUI despite her laughter and smiles during the test. The officer remained serious throughout their conversation.
We have insurance in the vehicle. Do you have any questions for me?
Do I have to make a phone call?
You'll be able to make a phone call once you get processed, booked, photographed, fingerprinted. Okay, turn around for me. Hands back behind your back. How long?
About like a year or 2 ago.
No, how long did you fight though?
Oh, I don't remember.
Did you ever have your nose broken?
Yes.
11 years.
My mom put me into myself and bullying.
Do you want to talk to your mom? Do you want to tell her you got arrested? Yes. From boxing to bikini, huh? It's a good transition. I think you did the similar, didn't you? Yeah. I'm recording too, by the way.
A blood alcohol test administered to Brooke at the police station showed that her blood alcohol content was 0.4%, over twice the legal limit. Her license was suspended temporarily, and she had to spend the night in jail to become sober. The incident demonstrated how arrests can be conducted with dignity and respect for all those involved. This lovely meeting could have resulted in something else in another setting, but that night, fate had other intentions.